I actually have a tattoo. It's a lyric from my first number one that is a song called We Were Us that I wrote with it. It was Keith Urban and Miranda Lambert duet, and I wrote it with my friends John Knight and Jimmy Robbins, and it's kind of all of our first number one song. And so we there's a line in the chorus that says every beat, every time, every word, every line. And so someone got every beat like for a heartbeat, and I got every word because I feel like words have been the driving force of my life. I think it was, you know, I think me sitting down with words has been a way for me to, throughout my childhood, learn myself. I was always that kid that if they ask you to like write a paragraph, I would write 3 pages. And I think I've just always felt like that. I'm always like overflowing with things to say. Like everyone wants to be seen and heard, right? And I think for me, I didn't want to be seen so much as I wanted to be heard. My power has been in like closing my eyes, thinking about my thoughts more than like expressing myself visually. I have like an infatuation with words. Like I have a note in my phone that like a word that maybe we've used in our vocabulary our whole life, just been like kind of like a utility player in our vocabulary. Like it's just kind of there. It's not is anything fancy or sexy about it. But then like I get infatuated with a word and I'm like, what can you create from that word? What's the essence of it? Um, and so I think for me, like words are my art, and you know, they're strangely, as much as I'm not a visual artist, they're strangely kind of like visual art to me. But what's so cool about songs and words in particular is that, and lyrics, is that you write one lyric and it's going to be interpreted 7 billion different ways by 7 billion different people, and a different movie is going to play in their mind when they hear those words. So to me, like that's a crazy power that we have. It's funny. I think the timing of starting Songs and Daughters when I did, I think it was probably people probably assumed from afar that there was like it was me trying to make a statement. Songs and Daughters was born more out of creative fun. As a songwriter that's usually or historically over the years, and I guess if nothing's absolute, but over 20 years of being in Nashville, there are more men in the room than women in a writing room or in a music business setting. And I personally love working with men. For me to get to just to surround myself with women, to be perceived that I'm creating opportunity, and I am in some ways, but really I'm just creating a space that just didn't exist. We're making it about gender, but it's also about a product. Like I grew up a super fan of female country music. It is such a treat and luxury to get to a point in my career where I can go, what do I want to make exist? Make more of that exist, because that's what I grew up on, and I inhaled that for so many years. Now I want to help exhale. It's not so much about gender, it's more about product. That kind of song that only a female can sing. I just wanted more of that being released. And I just, as a fan, I'm like, I wish I could hear more fiddle and things. I wish there was more of this kind of, where's the next iteration of the chicks, well, here comes Hailey Whitters. Like really, for me, it's selfishly just trying to create what I'm a fan of. I love making and working on female music so much. And so that's really like the heart and soul behind it. Well, I think for me, it's the power of story. I think legacy is, once we're all gone, it's really it's the stories that live on, and for me, that was part of the heart of writing the record was if I never got to, if something happened to me tomorrow, what would I want them to know? And really, I would just want them to know my story more than I would want them to know what I thought about something. It's more of like, okay, because I think that their sense of self will come from my sense of self. But I also think in terms of legacy, it's like, what are the stories people will tell about you from getting to work with you? and how did you make them feel along the way? Like, especially as a songwriter, like we go into rooms with hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people, and create and collaborate over the course of our whole career. And how, like, the conversations we have with each other, the way we make each other feel, the safety that we can create for others to create in our presence, I think is more of our legacy. You might, if you are lucky, I mean, I have 10 number ones. I am in the extreme exception of anyone that ever wants to be a songwriter. Well, that's 30 minutes of music. That's here and gone tomorrow, like, but that I've spent in rooms with people working on songs that no one's ever heard. Those stories from those days are going to be legacy. And I would say too is that there's endless ways to get to the same place. How you get there is probably more your legacy than where you actually got. You go about creating, writing songs, your motive for why you're doing it in the first place. Someone trying to have a chip on their shoulder and prove their self-worth through it is one thing. Someone doing it because for the pure love of it, bringing different motives into the room. And I think and so, like, just calling something as simple as, oh, you ring the bell, you got a number one song, it's so much more complex. I mean, I think the goal and legacy is really to inspire others to live their most authentic lives. And I think that was something, in hindsight, looking back on my record, that I'm maybe most proud of, is how many people said that they've been wanting to do something like that, and now they're more likely to do it. Piano was my entry to music. I sat on the floor and watched my babysitter watch me after school, like in preschool and kindergarten. She also gave piano lessons. Feeling of sitting on the carpet, looking up at the kids that got to sit on the piano bench and take piano lessons, and I wasn't old enough yet. And like, I looked at that piano bench. So maybe more specifically, it's the piano bench. Piano bench has given me, like, it has rooted me, and it has, like, kept me centered and also kept me moving my whole life. Had it not been for learning to play classical piano, I don't know that I would have fallen in love with all the instrumentation of country music, and, like, at the time, the Dixie Chicks, the way that I did. When they played their instruments, I was like, oh, they've mastered instruments. Oh, I see myself in them. Oh, then I learned about songwriting. Well, I couldn't have written my first song had I not had the piano. And I think, as somebody that was really afraid to get on stage and play my songs for people, not having to stand up at a microphone and getting to sit down on that piano bench has been like a safe landing for me in the music business. Like, have truly, like, been the vehicle. Thank you for all that you're doing. This is amazing work, and I'm honored to be a part of it.